Hey everybody, Hollywoodpizza here, and we're going to be playing some Dimir Rogue combo today. That's right, we're playing Metamorphic Alteration, which is a 2-mana enchantment aura. Whenever you put it on a creature, you get to choose a creature that's in play, and then the enchanted creature becomes a copy of that creature. So the combo is with Archfiend the Dross, 4-mana 6/6 flyer. Comes into play with 4 oil counters. At the beginning of your upkeep, you remove an oil counter. Then if it doesn't have any on it, you lose the game, and whenever a creature and opponent dies, they lose 2 life. So the combo is that you have an Archfiend out, the opponent has any creature on the battlefield, you put a Metamorphic Alteration on it, turning it into Archfiend of the Dross. When you pass, the upkeep trigger happens on their Archfiend of the Dross now, and since they don't have any oil counters, they just lose the game. So to kind of give us a little bit more of some reach with this deck and or, a little bit more of like some different varied strategies, we have a rogues package with Thieves Guild Enforcers, Soaring Thought Thieves, Fairy Masterminds, and Nighthawk Scavengers, as well as John and the Locks for some counterspell or creature destruction, including the Shielder's Edict, Heart of Sacks, Go for the Throats. We also have a Kaido Shizuki to kind of help with some, value. Give us a nice little Planeswalker that gives us some redraws every turn, or gives us some 1/1 army that is unblockable. We have one of Dorai Disruption to kind of help with a little bit of that tempo as well, including the 4 Thought Seizes and 2 Fatal Pushes that you see in a lot of black-based decks. One of Spell Pierce to kind of catch the opponent off guard on potentially like a Fable or any type of non-creature spell that they will be tapping out for. In terms of special lands, we have a couple Hive of the Eye Tyrants, 1 Otawara, 1 Castle Locthwain, 1 Hall of the Storm Giants, and a slew of other dual lands as well. For the sideboard, we have 4 Ray of Enfeeblements against anything that's going to be white-based. We have 3 Ether Gusts against anything that's red or green-based. 2 Disdainful Strokes, potentially against control, or any deck that we know is going to be going over the top with converted mana cost 4 or greater. 1 of Siphon Insight to help against the control matchup or mid-range matchups. Reckoner Bankbuster to give us a little bit extra reach and some card advantage to help grind the opponent down. 2 Mystical Disputes against anything that's going to be blue-based. 1 of Memory Deluge, which is kind of like the same as like a Bankbuster, gives us a little bit of that reach and card selection, some card draw. And 1 of Extinction Event against anything that's going to be aggressive, or we can also bring this in against mid-range creature decks, knowing that we're just going to be able to board wipe them pretty easily. Overall, the deck was super, super fun. You do have ways to combo, like I stated earlier, the Metamorphic. But a lot of the time, you're actually just going to out-value the opponent and out-tempo them, and then just beat them down either with some really, really big, beefy flyers, or just rogue them out with the Soaring Thought Thieves and the Thieves Guild Enforcers. So let's go ahead and jump into some games and have some fun. On the play here, we're missing 1 land for making the Archfiends good. I think we keep it. We got some interactive spells. Probably pay 2 life for this Watery Grave in case our opponent has like a Thought Seize. We can still Spell Pierce it at least. Kind of save some of the good cards in our hand. And it is a Thought Seize, so yeah, we'll Spell Pierce them. That way they just don't know what's up. Hey, what's up, Hearsay? Hope you're doing good, bud. Hope everything's going well. Alright, looks like we're up against Rakdos mid-range. So I think I'm just going to play the Castle Locthwain and pass it back. Okay, Bone Crusher Giant, sure. They might just slam the Bone Crusher now. Yep, there it is. And we can target it with the Fatal Push, but it's not going to do anything. Nighthawk Scavenger's pretty good. I'm actually going to pay the 2 life for it. We'll play it. And I think it will pass. If they kill the Scavenger, we can at least target the Giant. Yeah, we'll go down to 12, but I think that's okay. Thanks, homie. I just got done writing my first article for... That's a bit frustrating here. I just got done writing my first article for MagicJank.com, so be on the lookout for that today or tomorrow. And yeah, opponent just had another Thought Seize here, unfortunately. Alright, and they do take the Drown on the lock, so they know about the Fatal Push. If they kill the Scavenger, we can at least kill the Giant. And then start slamming 4 mana 6/6s with flying. Okay, Graveyard Trespasser. Gonna exile some cards. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent double checking to make sure that this has Death Touch. This puts us to 10. I think we just trade here. A little bit Augur because obviously we're getting rid of an Archfiend, but I mean, they don't have anything left. A little bit awkward too because we just drew a land there where we could have had the land to pitch and then maybe top deck another Archfiend. So a little bit risky here on my end. We're definitely going all in on this Archfiend. But the opponent doesn't really have too much going on. They do get some redraws with this Bank Buster eventually though. So that's definitely going to help them grind us out, but we might be able to kill them before then. We'll see. Okay, Soaring Thought Thief, that's fine. We're just going to crack in for a huge 6 here. Get them down to 12, put them on a 2-turn clock. Can't block with the Bank Buster. Hey, thanks so much, Mama May. Have a great rest of the day. Appreciate you stopping by and hanging out. Thank you, thank you. Yep, going to damage. I'm down to 12, and let's pass it back. We have a Soaring Thought Thief here that we can cast at instant speed, or maybe even get a redraw off the castle, which might be what we do, in all honesty. Okay, they're going to cycle, so they're not going to use the blood token. Or they are using the blood token now rather than using it through the Blood Tithe Harvester to kill something. Alright, so opponents definitely go into the tank here. They're thinking about what they need to do to potentially win this game here. Now, they do get a redraw off the Bank Buster, but that is going to spend 2 of their mana, so they'll have 3 mana left. So, arguably, the better plays they can maybe have is like a Liliana the Veil. Or another maybe Graveyard Trespasser, because it can gain them some life. And come down as a 4/4 Glutton. We do have a response with the Soaring Thought Thieves, so the Liliana won't get them out of this. They're going to need a hard removal spell on top of that. Potentially, like, maybe getting rid of one of their own permanents just to have the Revolt for the Fatal Push. They could also activate the Den of the Bugbear and come in for 8 damage, which is a huge chunk. Put me on a 1-turn clock. Having the Thought Thief, though, does give us the option to block if that does happen. Looks like the opponent's definitely thinking about that. Okay, they're going to redraw off the Bank Buster instead, though, so definitely looking for an answer here for this Archfiend of the Dross. Question is whether or not they drew it. Okay, Misery Shadows, pretty good card. And it looks like they're going to come in for 3. I think we may want to redraw here. As weird as that is. Okay, Fairy Mastermind. Take another 3, go down to 11. We hit them. And then we have 2 blockers. It's definitely risky. Like, we're definitely being risky here, but I just like digging deeper because if we do get a removal spell, they're going to lose some more life as well. So we get closer to killing our opponent. Alright, opponent definitely going to the tank. They probably have a Fatal Push, which is why there's a stop here. I don't think that it's going to be any other card. Okay, we had a Nighthawk Scavenger, which is pretty phenomenal. So let's come in for 6 first. And we know that we can play the Nighthawk here. Okay, this should put them down to 6. We play the Nighthawk Scavenger. And then we can flash in one of these cards to give us some blocks here. Looks like the opponent may be going to the tank here. see what they got going on. Looks like they're definitely going to the tank. All right, we get them down to 6. We'll cast a Nighthawk Scavenger and keep mana open for a Soaring Thought Thief. Looks like our opponent kind of just draining the clock here. Not really sure what's going on their end, but Soaring Thought Thief is going to be really nice too, because once we attack, we actually get to fill the graveyard more for our opponent. So there's a chance that maybe we can just already pump up the Scavenger and the Soaring Thought Thief itself will get big as well. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they attack, we could like flash in this Fairy Mastermind block here and block the Shadow, and then they'll just lose 4 anyways. So even if they kill, try to come in to try to kill us, they're definitely in a tough spot. I mean, if they try to kill one of our cards, they're in a tough spot either way. We still have blockers, so they have 2 cards left. Could also activate one of their creature lands. Opponent going back to the tank here. Don't forget, I host 3 tournaments a month. All are free to play with cash prizes. You can find all that information as well as all my content links down below in the description. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button, bell notification, leave a comment down below. Would be greatly appreciated. I stream on Twitch 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with our tournaments. Opponent's gonna drop a Shieldred. We're going to attack. We're just gonna play Fairy Mastermind. We'll trade with the Blood Tithe Harvester. Guess they could have a Fatal Push here, which would be pretty deadly, honestly, but this does put them down to 4. So they actually have to kill both of our flyers in order to win this game, and that's very unlikely with only 1 card and 1 mana open. So even if they did have the Fatal Push there, they're at 4, they lose to one of these, or we play the Soaring Thought Thief. So let's see here. Excuse me. Well, I could bring in a Siphon Insight and a Bank Buster to give us a little bit of an edge. Let's cut the Jawari. Think we bring in the Bank Buster? I could be wrong. Maybe it's the Siphon Insight. Or we also can bring in cards like Extinction Event and Memory Deluge that just redraw us a bunch of cards, so there's a world where maybe cutting the Kaido's better for the Deluge. Yeah, we could bring both of these in. Maybe cut the Kaido just because essentially like this card's kind of doing the same thing. But I do like having a Planeswalker. Maybe it's just shave on the combo. We talked about that a little bit last time in our previous match. Could also cut the Fairy Mastermind, considering that we know that our opponent's not really drawing that many cards. So let's say we do keep the combo in. On the draw. Yeah, let's cut a Soaring Thought. It's weird, but let's cut a Soaring Thought Thief. I almost think that like the synergies of the rogues isn't as much. Like we kind of already have like a control deck that should be able to beat a mid-range deck. So I think like just having really good cards in our deck still makes up for the fact that we may be losing a little bit of the synergies by cutting a card like the Soaring Thought Thief there. And I think that this is okay. Have a lot of lands, but we have a Siphon. I think that we do have to take a mulligan here. It's just a little bit too much. Alright, this is a lot better. We'll put the Watery Grave back. And we don't necessarily have a curve out. We obviously have a lot of 2-drop spells. But it does look like they do have a Thoughtseize here, so a bit unfortunate. Definitely going to take either our Soaring Thought Thief or one of the removal spells, so... More than likely it's the Thought Thief, though, just because it's the only threat that we have. Wow, they actually take the Edict, okay. I'm definitely okay with that. So start off with the Darkslick Shores, play the Hall into the Soaring Thought Thief. And we also hit a Drawn in the lock here. We know they already have one card in the graveyard. So if they tap out for like a creature, we can at least get Thought Thief down and then get one attack in, which is pretty nice. They might just pass knowing what we already have in our hand. They know that if they play a creature, it's just going to die to the Go for the Throat. Okay, so they do play the Blood Tithe Harvester. I think I'm just going to go for the Soaring Thought Thief here. Gives us the opportunity to attack, fill their graveyard up a little bit more. So let's do that. This makes our Drown in the Lock way better. And we could also play Nighthawk Scavenger. It does use our mana. They have 3 cards in the graveyard. I actually think I'm okay passing here. Play a little bit of the flash game. Let's say they do play like a Fable or a Graveyard Trespasser. We can actually just outright counter it. We'll take 3, go down to 17. Our opponent's is 17 either way, so it's not like we're losing, you know, that much of a big difference in life totals here. And opponent's going to go to tank here, using their timeouts. And I do apologize that our opponent's taking a very long time to make decisions here, but it's okay. You know, sometimes it's okay to take your time, even though this is not a tournament. So 5 cards left in hand. Looks like they do have the Fables, so yeah, that's going to get countered here. We'll get to untap. We hit another Drown in the Lock. Interesting. 4. This will put him at 6. I think we just smash in here and get some more cards in the graveyard. And I'm not going to play this Nighthawk. I'd rather play Nighthawk with one of these spells up, or we have both of these and then we can slam the Nighthawk afterwards. Because we can still kill this. Let's say they play another Blood Tithe Harvester, then we just shoot this down. We have Drown in the Lock back up for anything they play afterwards. And we're just mostly looking to top deck a land. If we get 3 more lands, then we can start activating the Hall. Obviously, that's way later in the game. We're hoping to at least have the game resolved by then, but knowing that we're up against Rakdos mid-range, you know, they're pretty grindy decks, so there is a possibility that that could happen. And opponent going back to time again here. Okay, they do have a Thoughtseize, so unfortunately, we could maybe Drown in the Lock the Thoughtseize so they don't take our Nighthawk Scavenger. Obviously, it's annoying because we'd rather use the counter spell on a different card, but I still think this is okay. Looks like they just have a Fatal Push here, so yeah, we're just gonna trade off some cards here. And Darnlock's going to counter. If they don't have a land drop, then we can just cast this Nighthawk Scavenger just fine here. Or excuse me, land drop plus a card. Opponent going to tank. Maybe they're thinking about whether or not they want to cycle this blood token to try to hit a land drop. Definitely an option. And looks like they're going to use one of their timeouts. So they may just be going to salty rope mode here, apparently. Let's see if that's the case. Once again, do appreciate you watching the content here, hanging out with us. I know our opponent is definitely playing really, really slow, so I know that sometimes it doesn't make for the best content, but nonetheless, we're definitely seeing this deck in action and kind of seeing its potential, so looks like they did cycle the blood token, and they did find their land in the Black Cleave Cliffs. We did draw a Water Grave, so either way, we would have had Nighthawk Scavenger plus a 2-drop spell if our opponent hadn't had the Thoughtseize there. Nighthawk's looking pretty good as a 6-3. Fatal Push doesn't just kill it without Revolt, so that's definitely a thing. 3 cards in hand, though, for the opponent. In terms of, like, our best draws here, we do have Archfiend of the Dross, which would be pretty nice. Okay, Fairy Mastermind's not bad. We'll hit for 6. We'll gain 6, and we'll pass it back. What's up, Joe? What's up, homie? Hope you're doing good. Liliana of the Veil. So if they go for the sacrifice, we will play this Fairy Mastermind in response. Alright, opponent gonna down tick. We'll get this Fairy Mastermind down. We'll sacrifice the Fairy Mastermind. We might be taking 4 damage here, and that's okay. Plus another 2 puts us down to 15. Ooh, Extinction Event's actually pretty good here. I think we just go for the opponent. And we can just kill the Shieldred. So Shieldred gets exiled. We got our opponent at 6 life, so 1 more hit from this Nighthawk Scavenger is the game. Obviously, still 2 lands away from being able to use this Hall of the Storm Giants. Opponent with 3 cards in hand. So 3 cards, we'll see what they got. If they don't have a removal, we definitely get there with this Nighthawk. Hey, Morgan Eve, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome in. Always a cheesy time here. Yep, gonna uptick on the Liliana. We're completely okay with that. There goes the Dark Slick Shores. And they do have a Graveyard Trespasser, so they're gonna go up to 7. We have 2 creatures in the graveyard. They also have a Blood Tithe, so 3 creatures overall in the graveyards here. Ooh, Archfiend the Dross is pretty nice, though. I think we have to kill the Liliana, as awkward as it is, because we don't want to lose our cards. And we'll play an Archfiend, so that way they can't attack. And if any of their creatures die, they're going to lose 2 life. So 2 cards for the opponent. We have 2 fatty boom booms in the air, and we take the match down. We'll see you for the next one. On the play again here with some rogues. Really awkward hand. I think we have to take a mulligan here. Okay, we can keep this. This is way better. I think I'm okay with the Drown Unlock, considering we just have so many Thieves Guild Enforcers, that the Drown Unlock's definitely going to get turned on rather quickly, so let's pass it back. Play a land. Alright, so they have Witch's Oven. Will Thieves Guild Enforcer here. And we will Thieves Guild Enforcer. And we'll Thieves Guild Enforcer. Start the game off right with the triple guild, Thieves Guild Enforcer. Hey, come in for 3. We'll pass it back. So, John and Alok definitely active as they have 12 cards in the graveyard here. Alright, Unlucky Witness coming down. And looks like they have a Fatal Push, unfortunately, for one of these Thieves Guild Enforcers, so we're not going to be able to come in for a ton of damage, unfortunately. Ooh, Kaido is pretty nice, though. Yep, gonna come in for 6. They're going to block. Get a couple redraws, or at least they get to see 2 cards with this Unlucky Witness. Yep. Get a food token. If they play Mayhem Devil, it's not that impressive. And we still have Drown in the Lock to kill it, so I think we're okay playing this. They do have a cat in the graveyard now, which is a bit annoying, though. So I guess they could kill the Thieves Guilds. Maybe this was wrong, actually. But we do get a redraw. Okay, Soaring Thought Thief. Not sure if this is correct, because if they do play the Mayhem, they can sack 2 cards to kill the Cauldron Familiar. Or excuse me, sack the Cauldron to this, then get it back. They're going for the Blood Tide, though. They do have a land in hand. Or they could just choose to play the Blight Step. Yep, so Mayhem Devil's gone now, which is really, really good for us. Okay, another Cauldron, that's fine. Coming in for 1, interesting attack. We hit another Soaring Thought Thief. Put both. Kill this. I'm actually going to kill this. Okay. Let's smash. Yep, block 1. Yep. Try to draw land. No land, but a Thoughtseize. Okay. What do they have in their hand? We know they can get back Kroxa. Ooh, 2 Deadly Disputes. That's not good. Definitely not where we want to be. So they need to top deck a land to get Kroxa. They can get this cat back. A little bit annoying, though. Just because they just have blockers now. We have some ground pounders. We'd rather just like get these Soaring Thought Thieves down. Might have been a little bit of like a greedy play there. But I still like killing the Blood Tithe Harvester so they can't kill one of our cards. And at least coming in for some damage to keep pressure on them. And they do have his Deadly Dispute to sack Cauldron Familiar, though. So they're definitely going to do that. And then like chain one of the cats back into play. Okay, sure. They can come in for 2 Kaido. We don't really care too much about that. That's fine. Okay, there's a Deadly Dispute main phasing it. To maybe hit a land drop here as well is potentially what the opponent's going for. So let's see if they hit something like a Blood Crypt or Black Cleave, anything like that. They're going to play tap this turn. Oh, there's a Thoughtseize, so we're going to lose one of these Soaring Thought Thieves, unfortunately. But it's not the worst thing. Okay, there's a Blood Crypt, and then I'm guessing it's another Thoughtseize or a Fatal Push, so... Yeah, I mean, opponent drew gas with the Deadly Dispute. So, I'm actually just going to come in for 3 first. I really want to hit some lands. The opponent's actually just going to scoop. Wow, that's actually pretty surprising. I mean, we do have Kaido plus double Soaring Thought Thief, so things are looking really, really good for us. And essentially, we probably weren't going to mill them out, but you know, with both of these, we pump up our cards and start coming in the air for quite a lot of damage. Extinction Event's just okay here. It's not like anything too crazy. In all honesty, most of our cards here don't really line up too well against their deck. We could bring in the Extinction Event. It's like fine. Ray's not really doing anything. Deluge doesn't really do anything. You could say maybe Aether Gust is good because we could maybe counter like a Fable, but I don't even think that it's worth bringing in. It seems pretty so-so. Let's cut this and then let's pass it back. Let's try this out, see how it goes. So opponent kind of just conceding there before anything really happened. See what's up in this game. Opponent's still sideboarding. Definitely, I would think maybe bringing in some more removal to stop the rogues, or not sure if our opponent is thinking about whether or not we're playing the combo in our deck. We'll find out, though. We will definitely find out in this game. All right, definitely we can keep this hand. This hand's phenomenal. Pretty decent curve out with the Thieves Guild and the Thoughtseize. And they have the Witch's Oven. I think we can start off with this to kind of give us an idea of what they're doing. So, yeah, we take the Blood Tithe. And they have the Deadly Dispute. Their Witch's Oven here, which is great. Could have also maybe gave them the Blood Tithe and gotten rid of the Fatal Push so our Thieves Guild Enforcer sticks around. Or we can just top deck another Thoughtseize and do that as well. So, yep, Fatal Push gone. We'll pass it back. If they try to go for Deadly Dispute, we'll respond by Thieves Guild in their top 2 cards. Try to hit something good that they would have drawn either way. They're going to put Gigant in their hands, so let's go get this Thieves Guild Enforcer down. Mill them for 2 cards. We'll get the untap. We had a Drown in the lock, which is nice. Okay, let's get Shipwreck March here. We'll attack. We'll pass it back. So what's actually kind of nuts is, like, it's an additional cost for this. So if they do this, they'll lose their Witch's Oven and we'll still get to counter the spell, which is awesome. Ooh, okay. Well, it's a bit unfortunate because we don't have multiple blue sources here, so we can only really cast one of these. I think we just come in for one. Pass a turn back if they try to Deadly Dispute. Yep, we got the Drown in the lock, but it doesn't look like they're going to do anything like that. Right. You know what? If they deadly, they deadly. I think that's okay. That's going to be a chance we're going to have to take here. Okay, they do not. We get to mill 2 more cards. And we're an attack away from being able to get all of our creatures buffed up. But it looks like the opponent has a Fatal Push that they drew, so it's not going to happen. At least right now. It's another Archfiend, yeah. We'll play a 4-mana 6/6 flyer. That seems pretty good. Gonna just come in for 1 damage again. Okay, gonna sacrifice their Witch's Oven here. It actually pumps up the Thieves Guild Enforcer, so they end up taking more damage. And we're feeling pretty good. We got a pretty beefy threat in the air. We can play a second one, and then, yeah, if our opponent just doesn't have answers here, they just die to demons. Oh, yeah. As you can see, you know, we don't need the combo in this deck necessarily. We already have enough, like, tempo-y, control-y elements that we're definitely able to overcome what our opponents are throwing at us here. There's a Witch's Oven. Okay, they're going to claim the Firstborn on this Thieves Guild Enforcer. That's okay. I'm just going to take the 1. So I'm guessing that they have a Fatal Push here. Would be my guess. They do lose 2 life, which is nice. Definitely expecting the Fatal Push. Okay, another Oven. And that's it. Wow, so that's all that they had. Yep, just going to play another Archfiend. Come in for 6, and we pretty much have lethal on our opponent. They can't chain the cat, because if they try to, they're going to lose 4 life off of both of these Archfiends. So opponent definitely not in a good spot. And they're actually just going to come in here. I'm definitely going to block the creature land. And they're going to lose 4 life here. I don't think that that's probably the best decision, but it might just be everything that they have left, honestly. Yep. Could gain 3 life. But yeah, I think they're just dead here. Yeah, they could have gone up to 4 and then the demons killed them, so I mean, Catavan seemed like a pretty good matchup. Our cards lined up very well against him, so we'll go ahead and see it for the next one.
This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com.
Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book store's got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you. On the draw with some rogues here. I think we can keep this hand. We have a Thieves Guild Enforcer and one piece of the combo. We can also tone our Thieves Guild Enforcer into a Nighthawk Scavenger, but unfortunately, our opponent does start the game off with a Thoughtseize, so one of our best cards is going to get taken here, regardless. Shipwreck Marsh is also a little bit awkward, so we might almost want to start with that if we don't top deck a land here on our draw step. So then that way we can cast all of our spells later, including this Drown in the Loch. Obviously, it's awkward. They're not going to have any cards besides one. Interesting. Yeah, we'll play the land they know about tapped. Through this Clearwater pathway, so we play that as a black source because we need double black for the Nighthawk, and looks like our opponent Waste Not. Okay, pretty interesting card for our opponent to play here. Let's see what they're up to. Right, 4 cards in hand. They have a go blank. Wow. All right. Our opponent discards a land card. So... They'll get the draw there. If we get rid of this, they get a 2/2 zombie. We can't really have them redraw twice, I don't think. I'm actually just going to get rid of these. They can get 1 redraw and add some mana. I guess they can add some mana. They get a redraw, but not getting any board presence I kind of like more. All right, we top deck a land. Obviously, it comes into play tap, which is a bit unfortunate, but opponent with 4 cards now in the graveyard, so this Drown on the Loch does get a lot better if they try to go for another go blank or anything like that. So kind of have to protect our cards the best that we can here. Not sure if giving them the zombie was better. I mean, we're a higher life, but it's not really like a... we don't really want to start racing with the opponent. And knowing that they're mono black, they probably have a removal for the Nighthawk Scavengers, so I don't really think that, like, even if we drew an untapped land, that's something that we might have wanted to do. Not entirely sure. I mean, don't know how the rest of our turn could have gone, so... yeah, we'll go to counter this Liliana. It's not going to resolve. Get the untap. We do get a swamp. And I think I'm just going to come in for damage here. We're going to mill our opponent again. I don't want to play this Nighthawk. We'll just pass with the Drown in the Loch. We want to counter whatever big spell they try to play here on their turn. Yep, another go blank, but that's not going to happen. So let's counter that. They have 2 cards left. They could have another discard spell, but they do not. So let's play Nighthawk here, and we're going to come in for 2 damage, mill our opponent 2 more cards. Yep. And I'm actually going to play the land out because we don't want them to make us discard the land. Right now we have 9 damage. Fortunately, we have no cards in hand, so what we have on the battlefield is definitely what we're playing with right now. At the mercy of the top of our deck, but we do have some demons that are pretty beefy that can definitely do some things. So, yep, sacrifice a creature. Yep, sacrifice this. Metamorphic alteration would have been pretty nice there. I think we keep up castle. For the end step, let's pass it back. Okay. Oh. Discard, they get a redraw, which is obviously unfortunate, but we also have a redraw here with this castle. They're at 8, down to 2 cards. Haven't had a removal spell so far. There is a Liliana, though. So, we're hoping to castle for a Thieves Guild Enforcer. That would be pretty nice. Because then we can play that in response to the Liliana. We hit a Fatal Push, unfortunately, so that is definitely not going to be the case. We have our opponent down to 8, but we also know that they can get back a card. Ooh, and there's another Thoughtseize, so yeah, our opponent kind of just had all the answers for us here. We hit a Thoughtseize, but obviously that's not as good as theirs was, and they hit a castle, so definitely not in a great spot here. They're going to get back the Nighthawk Scavenger. Yep, there's the Nighthawk Scavenger. So we're definitely a pretty tough spot here. Right? Each player discards. Correct. So they're going to pass. We'll redraw. Okay, Hall of the Storm Giants and a Dark Slick Shores. Unfortunately, neither of these are really what we want to hit. So, the opponent might just be turning the game here in their favor. They're going to gain 5 more, go up to 11. Yep, we're going to discard a land here, unfortunately. So they get down some black mana. They might just redraw some more cards off their castles, which seems pretty good. Okay, redraw, yep. They go down to 4, though. And now they go back up to 10. They have enough mana to kill the Hall of the Storm Giants as well. Let's redraw. Alright, just a swamp. We hit a Fairy Mastermind. Well, let's see if they have an answer for this Hall of the Storm Giants. If they do, that might end up being game. I think we just want to kill this Liliana, maybe. And unfortunately, it does look like maybe they have the... Okay, they just have Shielders Edict, so yep. Gonna lose the Hall of the Storm Giants here, and I actually think that we're just too far behind. I don't think we can come back from that. So, let's see here. Mono black. Don't really have many cards that line up against them, honestly. You can bring in the Siphon Insight, the Bankbuster, because the Bankbuster redraws. Memory Deluge is okay. Disdainful counters one of their cards, but I don't even think it's worth bringing in. Could also make an argument for the Mystical Dispute just because it's a counterspell itself. Let's get rid of these. We'll get rid of the Jawari, I think. And I think we just roll it back. I kind of want these Mysticals, but I think by the time it matters, it's just going to be too late. We don't just want to have like a card that's like just pretty medium in the matchup. I'd rather like have some cards that are guaranteed to help us here. Being on the play does help, though. I can definitely say that. Alright, so we're going to be on the play. And unfortunately, it's a little bit of a weak hand. Ooh, this really isn't much better. But going down to 5 against a discard deck is like not where we want to be. So I actually think I'm just going to put... Let's see. We didn't see any creatures, but Maybe we do cut this Fatal Push. We can try something like this. I'm not like too happy with this hand. But I don't just want to mulligan to Oblivion because they just play discard spells. So expecting a Thoughtseize here. Yep. Getting rid of probably the Archfiend, and then we're left with 3 Drown on the locks. And we can't counterspell the Waste Not because it costs 2 mana. We just hit another Shipwreck Marsh, so let's pass it back. Okay, here comes the Waste Not, probably. Duress. I'll counter the Duress. Either way, it's getting rid of the same card in my hand. Ooh, Soaring Thought Thief, let's go. Alright. Inscription of Ruin. We have to discard 2 cards, so yeah. Gonna play the Soaring Thought Thief. Gotta get rid of both of these Drown in the Locks, unfortunately. And we're just left with this card. All that we have right now. Opponent still has 5 cards in hand. We're at the mercy of the top of our deck yet again. Okay, Lilyvale. So Soaring Thought Thief's probably going to die here. Okay, we just top deck a land. Let's pass it back. We still draw a Dross, but unfortunately, Liliana's going to uptick, so that means that any creature we play is more than likely going to die to this. Especially if they have something like a Liliana backup. Ooh, Siphon Insight's great, though. That's a really good draw, because it actually puts it in exile. So they're going to draw, sure. Yeah, this is actually pretty good. Definitely puts the cards in a spot that our opponent's not going to be able to get to them. So let's take one of their cards here. Not the best, not the worst. We'll grab this castle. So they have to discard now. Okay, a Thoughtseize, sure. 3 cards in hand. With the Hydrate, I gotta grab some water. Okay, there goes an island. I don't really mind that. They have 2 mana left with 3 cards. Ooh, Bankbuster's really good. A bit unfortunate there. Path of Peril, not really going to do it. We'll take the Thoughtseize. Bankbuster is just kind of backbreaking here because it just draws them so many cards. We can actually bounce this, though. And then Thoughtseizes from their hand. Yep, that's gone. We'll get a castle down so they can keep upticking Liliana here. It's a bit unfortunate. I think we might just end up losing to this Lilyvale because we don't have any creatures out to be able to attack or really deal with what our opponent's doing. Yep. Gonna draw, discard. There goes a Hive of the Eye Time, which would have been phenomenal here against this Liliana, but fortunately it does get discarded. Deluge wouldn't be bad. Gets us some redraws. Our own Bankbuster would be pretty nice. Ooh, Fairy Mastermind. Okay. It's not bad. Definitely a card. Yep, gonna play this. Can't even really draw off of it, honestly, because by the time this resolves, we'll have to discard the card either way, so mostly just doing this to get a removal spell out of our opponent's hand. We get a redraw off the castle later. They might also go for, we would hope that they go for like a Gaia Reach. Or a Gaia Reach, excuse me. Wow, so they discard a card. Right. Meat Hook for 1. Interesting. Hmm. I see what you mean. Yeah, we would draw two. You're right. Yeah, yeah. I definitely see what you mean there. Good point. I guess we just go for it. I'm just going to try to redraw here. Like, yeah, they redraw too, but... Ooh, we do hit the Deluge. And a Drown in the lock. So Fairy Mastermind is going to die. And we hit a Archfiend of the Dross. But Liliana's at like an insane amount of loyalty here. What can we hit to help us? Hmm. So we would have to play this. They kind of almost have to deal with this. And then we still have a counterspell, so then they have to down-tick Lily, which buys us a little bit of time so they don't ultimate. We do have a Memory Deluge we can discard. That kind of gives us a little bit of some value. So I think I'm just going to pass, and if they try to do the Edict... Okay, so they didn't do Edict, so they're just going to go with the Lily Veil trigger then. Obviously, that's better. That's more mana efficient. They're actually going for that. I actually think we just counter it. Make them have to use the Liliana, the Veil. They have another removal spell, that's completely fine too, but I'm guessing it's going to be down tick here. Yep. The gain of life, that's fine. It's not like what I'm worried about right now. Thieves Guild Enforcer, okay. Not bad. Pass it back. Okay. Just going to Deluge here first. Maybe try to hit a land that we can discard. Or another... I guess we don't have any other Deluges. Spell Pierce. Really like this Hive of the Eye Tyrant. Could take Hive and the Water Grave, discard the Water Grave, play the Thieves Guild Enforcer end step. Okay, so they get rid of one of their removal spells. Gonna play this in response. We just have a Hive for them to see. So they mill 2 cards now. Hoping to hit something good. Field of Ruin and Shieldred's pretty good. That way our Hive definitely stays on the battlefield, hopefully. 1 card left in hand for the opponent. Let's see what it is. We draw. We hit a Thoughtseize. So, yep, I'm gonna Thoughtseize here. Let's see what they got. Before combat, Fatal Push. Power Word Kill. Sure, can't do anything about that. And we'll pass it back. So they get to uptake Lily. Could also draw off the castle, but that pretty much taps them out. Like, we're pretty happy with that if that's what they end up doing. They uptick on Lily. They may just have to discard their card if it's not something they can cast. Alright, yeah. Gonna take some damage here. I'm okay with that. And 2 cards now for the opponent. We get a redraw, and then we also have Memory Deluge in the graveyard, so that's pretty nice. Obviously, a go blank would be really, really rough. But we're probably just going to keep up the Deluge. Yep. So that way, if they do have a go blank, we can cast the Deluge in response. So it's Castle. Okay. Play this as a blue source. We could also activate this and smash. If they have a fatal push, it's really bad, but I think we like have to go after the Liliana. Let's get rid of this Shieldred. That's pretty frightening if they get like attack Anuma. Alright, so they can make us discard, but we just have a land. And we know that they don't have a removal spell, so that's good. If it's go blank, it's rough. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, you know, we can play around cards if we wanted to, but I think killing the Planeswalker is just better, honestly. We still have some redraws off this castle, so even without the Deluge, it's not the worst thing. So we're going to kill this Liliana. I'm going to get rid of this Field of Ruins so they can't get that back later. Lily's going to die. And we have this Castle Locked Lane to draw us another card. Looks like they're going to take a damage first before. So, yep, upkeep, draw. You take less damage off of it. Draw for turn. Opponent with 2 cards now. And let's see what they got. All right. Just going to pass here. And let's redraw off the castle. We hit some creatures. Yep, gonna smash in for 3. Get rid of this Lily Veil so they can't get it back. Thieves Guild Enforcer. Mill another Shieldred off the top. And Nighthawk Scavenger. Milling a Fatal Push. Alright, well, things are looking pretty good now. We have some creatures on the board. We still have Hive of the Eye Tyrant that's going to be phenomenal, so... You know, opponent's got 2 cards. I need to find answers quickly, or they're just dead to our board here in a couple swings, or maybe even just 1 swing next turn if this Nighthawk doesn't die. Okay, so they do have a Shieldred either way. Our Thieves Guild Enforcer does have Death Touch, so it's definitely a thing. We have 9 damage here, so we don't even, like, really need to swing with the Thieves Guild. I guess they're gaining some life, so yeah, I guess now we do have to hit them, unfortunately. Bankbuster's pretty good. Let's activate this. And we'll smash in. Get rid of the other Shieldred. Alright, let's get Bankbuster down, and things are looking pretty good. We've got more redraws now, so... You know, a lot of our opponent's cards are going to be dead. Especially if they're discard spells. We don't even have any cards left, and we have a card that is potentially going to keep redrawing us a card every turn, so it feels pretty good. Looks like they may be thinking about what their next play is here. Okay, Lilyvale. Alright, so they go up to 5. A little bit annoying. But not the worst thing. Yep. So they have a lantern. Interesting, okay. And let's redraw off the Bankbuster, hit a Thieves Guild Enforcer. Alright, we'll play Thieves Guild Enforcer. Through the Bankbuster, activate creature land, come in for lethal. Yeah, I think the rest of our hand is still fine here. See a reason for Disdainful Stroke. I guess there's Shieldreds. But it's like such a dead card if we don't have it at that moment, so I think we're still just going to keep it like this. I don't want to bring in the Saintful and it just gets discarded either way or just lines up wrong. Alright, let's see what happens here, though. Game 3. And, okay, so we have to take a mulligan. This is a lot better. None of our lands come into play untapped. I guess this does. This is really, really rough. Like, we could keep the Thought Seizes. Man. Yeah, that's really tough. I think we just get rid of one of these. And if they have a Thoughtseize, they're just gonna take one of our, you know, our own Thoughtseize or Spell Pierce, so. Yeah, they've had Thoughtseize on turn 1 every single game, so, you know. Trying to at least maybe play around it the best we could, but I don't really think we have many ways to play around it, so. Alright, gonna pass it back here. We have our Hall. They know we have a Spell Pierce. There's a Thoughtseize, but... Well, let's see if they have a third Thoughtseize here. They might. And it looks like they do, so Bankbuster might just be going away here. Oh, there's a Duress, so... Yep, there goes all of our cards. We had a Fairy Mastermind, which is pretty good. And we'll pass it back. Okay, Waste Not, sure. Let's play Fairy Mastermind. We dodge a Fatal Push. Nice. Alright, smash in for 2. Maybe we wanted to play the castle there. A little bit of a minor mistake there. Leon the Veil, sure. Yeah, especially because now we can't play our Archfiend of the Dross unless we draw untap Black Source. And unfortunately we do not, so gotta pass it back here. Our opponent's gonna get to redraw because we have a Fatal Push to discard, and there's a Shieldred. Soaring Thought Thief, okay. I'm just gonna draw. Pass it back. They go up to 18. We know they can't push the Dross unless they have... Unless they lose a permanent on their side. 2 cards left in hand. Definitely a little bit of a mistake playing the wrong land there. You can see how, you know, sequencing is just so important. Okay, gonna redraw, discard. I'd rather give them a zombie than them get a redraw here. They'll gain more life off of the redraw. And it's definitely annoying. We just kind of getting whittled out again here. Yep, another zombie for the opponent. Could attack, but we have a block. And I'm killing the Shieldred. And a land, unfortunately. So definitely in a really, really, really tough spot now. Not sure if we can kind of like overcome. We just need some redraws. I think that Duress was just kind of like a heartbreaker just because we... We don't have double black to activate the castle. Got a Fatal Push here. Definitely just like not a good spot with a lot of things right now in this game. Okay, the discard Fatal Push. Gaia Reach. Oh, there goes a Nighthawk Scavenger. They'll get another zombie. And we hit an Otawara. I think we're just going to pass it back. Still have a Hall of the Storm Giant here. Okay, Gaia Reach, sure. Discard a land, luckily, so they only get mana. Definitely not out of it. I mean, them getting mana means they can still cast another spell, so let's see what they got here. Land, yep. 4 mana, maybe a Shieldred. Nope, just going to redraw off the castle. Pretty happy with that. We're going to take 4 here, go down to 10. Just 2, actually, okay. I'll redraw. You hit the Thieves Guild Enforcer. Gonna attack the Liliana. They'll block, yep. I should get another zombie either way. Yep. Gonna take the 2 here, go down to 9. Shieldred Edict is just fine. It would have been good, but we have to pitch it either way, so not the greatest thing right now. Top deck a Swamp. Gonna attack the Liliana with the Hall of the Storm Giant again. And they just have a Shieldred's Edict. We pass it back. And they just hit a Shieldred, so yeah. Opponent just really far ahead. I mean, you know, all 3 games they had turn 1 Thoughtseize, and then the 3rd game they had 2 Thoughtseize, so I think that against any deck, that's going to be really hard to beat. Overall, though, the deck was really, really fun. I think it has a lot of game against a lot of different decks. Not only do you have the combo win, but you also have like the mid-range grindy rogues plan. I think that's really, really phenomenal. Definitely suggest this deck for any tournament and the ladder. Don't forget, I stream 4 days a week on Twitch, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our tournaments. I host 3 a month. All are free to play. You can find the links to my content and the tournaments down below in the description. I hope that you stay cheesy. Catch you next time.